Okay, we're cooking. Well, I'm sitting down and I'm watching a film on Fatima.
So much so that I hardly
I'm writing
dared
a
take
song.
a piece of bread to eat.
I've got a couple more
As the
verses.
day
I'm going
of
to
the
put it
sixth
together.
apparition approached,
Got my guitars.
more and more people arrived in Fatima.
Got to check them again and
My
see if
mother
they're
became
tuned.
even
I
more
haven't tuned them
agitated.
since last night.
The night before,
You'll
she
get a
said to
quick
me that something had better
view of how
happen
to tune
tomorrow,
a 12
or we
string
will
real
be
quick.
lynched.
I'll let you see that. The 12 string is an instrument that takes some
The rain that had
finesse
started the day before
play.
continued through the night.
You just don't pound on
into the
them.
next
There's guys
morning.
that can pound on them and make them
People were
sound
arriving
good.
from all directions.
Not very many.
They were all drenched
Most
in the
people, they
countryside.
play 12
Some had
string
spent the whole
or
night praying at the cove.
guitar, 6-string guitar. Go along with the rhythm and they sing along with it. And it's pleasant, it's nice, it's folky. That's what I am, I'm a folky. Oh, besides, I'm a Fender man. I've got 2 beautiful Fenders. I've got one Fender that is all dressed out in mother of pearl. It's gorgeous. I've had it on my other tapes, but I'm going to show you that too. I'm going to show you how I tune up my 12 string. And then I got a replica of a Fender Stratocaster. PV came out with a kind of like a mock portable guitar, and it's with all the attachments that you have nowadays that they have that you can hook up to your guitar. You can come out here with I don't know, a cigar box with something attached to it and put a couple strings on it and tie it up to these instruments that they have now to make it sound like a Leslie organ. You can. That's how sophisticated this stuff is. I've got a looper, what they call a looper, where you play into it a rhythm, and then you sit back and listen to it, and then play a lead to it, and you can dub that in, have a rhythm with a lead, and then you can sit back and you can take your harmonica on it, just wail, just go to town on it. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do today, hopefully. I'm getting interrupted by the Fatima tape here. I got to turn it down here. Let me see.
12 noon had come and gone.
All of them were sopping wet. That was something else. It's sopping wet. God comes and plays basketball with the sun.
The skeptics and journalists in the
Everybody's
town
going,
were beginning to enjoy
wow. And then,
themselves.
look out. It started. He threw it at him. He let him have it. Came down and stopped. And then it went back up in its own place. And then everybody just looked at themselves and sopping wet. No longer. They were dry as a bone. And the sun did its dance. And 70,000 to 80,000 people saw it. And what did we do? We swept it under the rug. Hush, hush, nobody sees this. Oh, don't have anybody see this. Just like we did to the guy who said the Holy Spirit showed him how to make a motor that will run on water. What happened to that one? The powers to be. Shoved that one under the tree. Yeah, the tree of their life, because the tree of their life is oil. Now, we have a lot of oil. We have enough. I was estimated in 300 years, the United States could live on the oil we have. We don't have, we're independent. But what is happening? Ooh, the powers to be wouldn't let the engine run on water? Why? Powers to be. The healthy, the wealthy, and the wise. So-called wise. That's one thing that Lucifer was. He was beautiful. Most beautiful angel. But he didn't have any brains. He's smarter than us. But he thought he was equal to God. Sit down and play a game of chess with God. I heard a story. Lucifer sat down, played chess I am. He wasn't expecting to win or anything, probably, but he's going to show God. And he sat down at the table and he moved his first man. Pond moved 2 steps, the middle pond. And God looked at it. He goes, checkmate in 13 moves. What? Lucifer goes, what? I'm not going to tell you how the game ended up because we all know how the game ended up. He could have done it in 12, but he did it in 13 because he said he was going to do it in 13. Oh, God, omnipotent God transcends through everything. You realize that? Oh, all you people out there, you got little babies, your little babies, they were born, or what, how many weeks old, you give them a bath, and you get them all dried off, you put powder on them, and make them. Then you take and put your nose on top of their head, and oh, the fragrance of innocence. Beautiful innocence. There's no fragrance like that. I wonder if all those children that were aborted last year would smell something like that. That's something to think about, isn't it? Well, I go into my spiel about the Kenya people, the river people I'm talking about, that they don't really show too much of down there when you dial in Kenya and give me a history, or if you want to fly over it. They're going to show you all the best that they can do. They want to have a positive image. They want to make the tourism come in. The healthy, wealthy, and wise would get very rich. But they got one problem. The river people. All the people that live on the river, and they have mud huts they live in too. You're considered a rich man if you have a mud hut. Matter of fact, there was a woman, her husband died, and he had 2 mud huts, and he left it to her. So she took one and she rented out the other. I wondered, what she rented out for? Well, I think it was a loaf of bread. A loaf of bread she rented it out for. And it could be day-old bread. It could be stale. Because they'd eat it because they're dirt poor down there. They're hungry. What does Mom do? Mom says, Joey, come over here. Honey, grab that 5-gallon bucket and take it down the river and get us a bucket of water. Bring it back here and I'll boil it up and I'll do some dishes and wash some clothes, cook some dinner. And okay, Mom. Okay. And he gets the bucket in his hand and he's skipping and hopping down to the river. And he gets up to the river and he looks down at the riverside and he goes, oh, it's too mucky here. It's all mucked up and muddy and stuff. There's a lot of people on the river. They're washing clothes and they're doing all kinds of stuff. So to get fresh water, you gotta go out in the middle of the river to get it. And there's been stories about little children being whatevered by whatever gets them. And in this case, I'm talking about crocodiles. The crocodiles in Kenya are still waiting for the herds to cross the river so they can jump up and grab one and feed on it. And these crocodiles are bigger than my truck. Way more than my truck. Well, I have a small truck. Just trying to make a metaphor here. My truck is a Ford Ranger, single cab, I bought it in 207, and it was a 206 and only had 2,400 miles on it. Owned by a little old man down the street. Took it to the doctors and to the store for about a year, and then he had to go into a nursing home, and his daughter put it on sale. Came in, we gotta get rid of this. We gotta get something way we can transport you around other than this pickup truck. Well, they put it on the market, and I was in the mood for a pickup truck, and I'd been doing some business with them because they were trying to cut all the trees down on the hill in back of us. It would have flooded us out, because I had pictures of what it's like when there isn't any trees on that hill in the back. My wife and I went door to door knocking, having people sign a petition so they wouldn't cut the trees down, flood us out, because nobody knew about it. They didn't know the history of this place except for that little old man I bought the truck off. He showed me pictures. He showed me how the whole place floods if there's no woods in the back on that mountain. So my wife and I, we went door to door in the rain, umbrella, in the rain, and got signatures, because the guy was up there and he wasn't paying attention to anybody telling them to stop. They would have had to come with their guns drawn, pointing, get off the hill. Cease cutting the trees down. And that's what had to happen, and that's what did happen. But the powers to be, the people with the money that think they're so high and mighty above all the laws and everything. I mean, this man came down to the town meeting and told everybody that he bought that land back there, and it's got, a couple $100,000 worth of oak on it. Big oaks. I was up there hunting. I tried to buy the land years ago. I could have bought it for $300 a month on a land contract off the guy. But I went to the city and I says, can I log it and stuff? They says, no, that's city. That's in the city. You can't log in the city. Oh, I says, oh, okay. Well, I says, nah, I don't want that. I could afford it and everything, but I don't want it on mine. I got other things I got to do. So I let it go, slide under the rug. And this guy from Okefenokee comes in and he sees it and he buys it. And he decides, I'm going to get the oak off of it, no matter who says I can't. And I witnessed it. I went over 2 streets over and watched the trucks come down off of that hill with loads of oak. He had cut down all the oak tree, and not only the oak, any other marketable tree he was cutting down. He turned that $30,000 50-acre property. He must have made at least $350,000 to $400,000 on it, just logging it. There was big, huge oaks up there. I used to sit under them. The squirrels would come and eat the nuts, oak nuts and stuff, acorns. I used to enjoy that hunt up there. I wanted to buy the property, but they told me I couldn't log in. I'm not gonna, nothing I can do about it. Could have picked it up for a song too. That's what really irks me. All the deals that I got stolen from as a broker because of my inexperience and not knowing how this market, what the market is, what the market will do. Oh, I was a broker. I was a real estate salesman for 6-7 years before I became a broker. Then I went and got my license because all the brokers were the ones making the money. Because they were grabbing 50% of everybody else and they weren't giving them any deals, except for maybe a franchise comes in and gives you 30/70 or something like that. But you got to pay all your other initiation fees and all that other stuff. So that's what I did in real estate. I lost that deal. Oh, I hate that deal. And then another deal I lost was my brother-in-law. God bless him, he died. he had to have his hips replaced, and they replaced his hips. And he was, oh, wow, he couldn't believe it. He was feeling like a new man. And when he hip replacement, all the pins and needles and all that caused a staph infection, and he died from a staph infection. After being fixed and feeling good and everything, dies from a staph infection from having a hip operation. He didn't only have one hip operation. I mean, he had extensive work done on his hips and stuff too. So he wasn't a normal case of having a hip replacement. But he got a staph infection, and you can't do anything once that sets in. You're done, finished. So he gave me the property, 200 acres he had back, adjoined to state land, adjoined to it. In other words, if you own that property, your property line meets up with the state's land, hunting land. Oh, do. I says, okay, he wants me to sell. I put it on the market. Some guy who was a forester spotted it. He approached me and he was like frothing at the bit. Can I talk to your brother? Your brother-in-law? Can I work a deal with him and stuff? Can we do it on a land contract or something? I said, I don't know, let's find out. I says, all he wanted was in the 60s for it. 200 acres. He'd already logged it. And there was some softwood on it. And he didn't realize how much softwood was left on it. Or he would have logged that too. But he bought himself one of those wood misers and cut down trees and tried to make a sawmill and all that. And, you know, that gets old hat, especially if you don't need the money. It is something as a hobby and all that. Then he got the hips bad and all that. He couldn't stand on his feet to do the work. And his son didn't really get into it either. So, son's a pretty smart guy as far as mechanically inclined. Wow. He can drive tractors and backhoes, and he has a tree business. He's cutting down there. He does a lot of stuff. He's well trained. My brother-in-law trained him very well, very good. He didn't even need a high school education. I think he got one though, anyways. But he knew how to operate heavy equipment. I got stories in my past that I tell about some of the kids I've helped out learn how to operate heavy equipment with the BOCES program I used to be in. I was a juvenile delinquent control agent teacher. I made out reports to the state and to those who are in charge with psychology and sociology of a student, and I had to evaluate them. I did that for 6 years. I evaluated students, juvenile delinquents. That's what my degree was in: sociology, delinquency control, theology, philosophy, all that stuff that makes up a teacher to be a teacher that you can respect, I hope. What? And nowadays, working with those type of kids, I was kicked in the shins several times and couldn't do nothing about it. Just put it that way. That's why I didn't go for my master's. I got my provisional, my 5-year provisional. I stuck in there and I got friendly fired on. Like, students loved me. Good God, I had a good rapport with them. All the teachers were coming to me and saying, hey, he acts up in my class, can you punish him in yours? If he acts up, if I tell you? And I said, no. I'm not gonna take and punish a kid that's given me his best because he doesn't respect you while you're doing your fingernails. I want you to read chapter 7 and put the Give me your comment on that. He wasn't into that. This one boy that she wanted me to punish in my class because he was acting up in her class. Well, anyways, that's water over the dam, I guess. But anyways, I took it, stuck up for him. I didn't punish him in my class, and I don't know what he went on to be. I met his father years after that. He said, hey, he turned out pretty good. You know, I got some beautiful stories about some of the kids that went through my program up there. And I was only up there, 6 years. I was Appalachian for 4.5 and up there for a year, so, or more. It was about a year. I had certification. I got my New York State certification. Good for 5 years on a 4-year degree. Then you have to get your master's degree after 5 years. That's a whole different story. I got that in my videos to tell you how that went. Not in real big detail, but, you know, interesting enough to listen to, I hope. So, I saw this hat. I was in the store the other day and I bought myself a Fender amplifier, Fender. And they got all the gadgets. They got all the gadgets for voice, echo, hall, delay, relay, all kinds of stuff that you can do with your voice to enhance it a little bit. Built into a amplifier. Now, I have the old amplifier back in my day. They didn't have all them gadgets on it, just your voice and all that. I mean, they had medium, low, and high frequency that you can adjust, and a reverb, and a foot pedal. But now, you're talking about, you can take and buy a studio, a recording studio, for less than $600. I mean, for the amplifier, that is. And then you get your microphones. You got to get some good microphones that are phantom powered, and they're the best. They pick up your voice. I'm back here. Now watch. Let's see if you can hear the difference. Let me see. Can you hear the difference if I go down and I'm talking? Okay, now I'm talking. I'm right on the mic, but I got the mic down real low. Let me turn it up a little. There we go. Okay, I'll turn up the mic a little bit. I get back from the mic. Okay, recording studio. I'm an amateur producer, and I gotta produce. And if you don't produce with the state-of-the-art equipment, you can do better with the state-of-the-art equipment, that's for sure. Or you can just go natural talent. And I've got my natural talent on there that I did in videos. But I prefer having a nice little speaker system, PV. I mean, not PV, but a Fender Acoustic SFX2. They're new on the market. They're stereo. And they got a speaker on both sides. They got a speaker in the back, you know, nice speaker in the back. And then they got a nice big, I think it's 12 or 10 inch speaker in the front. I don't know, I forgot. I read that. I went through the specs on it real quick, so I think it's 10 or 12 inch. But the 2 8-inch speakers on each side, and then the back speaker. And then it has a foot switch. And you can control what you want the loop. A loop is when you play rhythm into it. And for about, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a couple measures, and then it records it, and then it repeats it, and it loops it. And then you can sit here, and I guess this loop here is 90 seconds in this one, in the amp. But I've gone further than that. I decided that I was going to treat it as a college course and study it. And I went out and I bought the RC500. That's the state of the art. You can record on it, and play it back, and then hit the button again and dub over it with a lead or a voice or a harmonica, some type of an instrumental. You can dub over it, and then you can go back and go on another channel and dub into what you just made. So you got a little recording studio, and you got all these gadgets to fix your voice. You got all these gadgets to change what the guitar sounds like. I mean, I can get on here hard rock, heavy metal. I can do all that stuff. There's nothing to it. I got the talent. I've been playing the guitar. I've got pictures of me 21 years old playing the guitar. Classical. No, I wasn't a newbie. I'm not a newbie at this stuff. But I put it up on the shelf for quite a while after I did my ministry. I played over 30 years doing masses, retreats, parish picnics out, parks, special requests, weddings, just the wedding part, the worshiping, and the mass parts. I never was into playing like a repertoire of 30, 40 songs and played them or something like that. I didn't do that stuff. I had a repertoire of over 300 songs that I played at mass, though. My wife and I, she played the 12, I played the 6. We sang together. I wasn't much of a harmonica man back then, but I did squeak a little bit one time, and I got discouraged because the little old man come up. This is funny. He come up to me and he taps me on the shoulder. He says, "Son," he says, "you know, you guys sound really nice." He says, "but that harmonica sounds like a choked chicken." Oh, I laughed so hard. Oh, man, it's the first time I laughed at myself being criticized. But anyways, over the years, I got better. Well, those poor people put up with me when I first started. Oh, God. It's a story. I'm trying to be positive today. And then I'm being positive by mixing in a little negative to let you see that, oh, God, there's a lot of stuff happening out there that people don't understand. They don't see it with their eyes. They see it with their eyes. It's not like the guy that's standing next to them sees it. If they observe something, you got 5 or 6 people observing somebody doing something, and you go back and you say, "What do you think he was doing?" You'll get 5 different stories what he was doing, what they think he was doing. That's the way life is. That's why if I make a video, I don't know how to distribute it yet. I'm supposed to get 4,000 viewers. Once I get 4,000 viewers, then I'm opened up to maybe the advertisers will say, give him some more room out there and see if he can draw in clients. We can advertise. What would they do for me? They would probably advertise their, let's just pick something up. Capos for your guitar. Hey, what kind of capo do you use for your guitar? Well, I've got the ultimate capo. Here it is, right here. This is the state-of-the-art capo right here, people. Well, I think we're getting a little feedback noise there. Okay, I can turn it down a little bit. But I think you can hear me halfway decent. I mean, I was told by observers that I speak too low and I speak too softly, that I need some amplification on my voice so I can project it and get my ideas across, and everybody's going, "What do you say? What do you say?" I have tapes on there like that. Forgive me. But turn your speaker system up as high as it will go, and you won't have any problems. What? To get back? Oh, a capo. What's the name of this capo? Oh, well, it's called a Addario. 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 It's an Addario capo. And what it does is, you know, you got your frets, right? So it goes down and it gets the frets, right? Cross. But in the back here, there's this little screw that you can start. Screw. Oh, I can feel it. Oh, it's getting tight. Oh, yeah, that's what you need. You need a tight capo around your strings. Hold down your strings so when you capo up a couple, I'll show you when I tune my guitar. I'll show you what that's all about. So, what's the next phase? I don't know. We can get back to my stories. I don't know. What do you want to do? Okay, let's do. I don't have a skit. I'm doing this all off the cuff here. I enjoy it. It's my hobby. I'm going to share it with you if you want to share it. Fender Man. Huh? My dad used to go, when I was a little kid, he'd go, son, D's, dems, and does. You don't talk like that. D's and dems and does. All right? He says, drop that off when you're talking. Don't say it like that. Oh, I says, oh, well, I'm a Fender Man, and I want to use it as a character, so what can I call it? So I'm not using the label, the name Fender as my name or something, because it has maybe some domain or something. So I'm going to call it Duddy Fender Man. There, Dad. He's dead and gone, but I still use that. These dems and does. Even though I was a high school dropout. Oh my goodness, I was a high school dropout. My dad went to the 8th grade. I went to the 9th. Hey! It wasn't until the Lord came into my life. Right about that age, too. You have to take and stop the film and then make the picture big enough so you can see what I'm talking about, I think. Because I can't see it. Right from here, I know what it is, and I can get the silhouette of it, but it's Christ, Jesus, talking to a street corner bum. A young street corner bum, 15, 14, 13 years old. Puts his hand on his shoulder and he says, hey, Bill, I gotta get you off the street. You're getting too old for this stuff. People are gonna start wondering why you're hanging out in the street corners. Well, and they're gonna look at it their way too, because they're not gonna know that you were kicked out of the house because you ate too much. Or you might have sassed back somebody like Mommy. Oh, I've been through a lot. A lot. Once I got a job and I was hungry, and there was a steak in the refrigerator. There was going to be dinner that night. I was in a hurry and stuff. I says, well, I'll eat some of that steak, and I'll go across the street and I'll buy one. Bring it back, put it on the shelf. I had money, so I had a job. Oh, you wouldn't believe what happened. I'm eating the steak that's supposed to be for dinner, and my mother's upstairs sleeping because she's not feeling well. And she gets interrupted. She comes down furiously. She sees me eating that steak. Oh, she picks up the steak. Plop! Right on top of my head. There, you son of a bitch. Calling herself names. But that's the rinky-dink stuff I got kicked out of the house for. The stupid stuff. My dad was MP in the Marines. Now, to be an MP in the Marines and bossing and locking people up and all that, you had to be one hard butt. In case kids are listening. And that's what he was. He was the turnkey. You're in, you ain't getting out until your time's up. And I'm going to make your time miserable. And that's what they did. They drilled you outside. In the jails, they drilled you and drilled you and drilled you. They get you up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go out and drill. Make it so you never want to come back to that place again. I was in there. I missed the bus movement. They stuck me in their MP jailhouse because I missed the bus's movement. Couldn't get back to the ship in time. I called up. Nobody logged it in. No record of me calling in, just my wife. They wouldn't take her word and my word. And I had to go through Captain's Mast. He adjudicated me in 30 days in the clink. Yeah, but Jeebers, I just came back from Vietnam. I just come back from Vietnam. I was on an aircraft carrier. And I didn't know what was going to happen. Oh, I had a miserable time because when I came back, they put me in sweeping the floors and stuff until they found out where they were going to put me. After I got transferred off my ship from Vietnam, they took and chopped that up and sold it to the Japanese there in their junkyards and stuff. You can look it up. It's the Clarion River 409. It was a little troop transporter type thing from ship to shore, and they welded it all up and put 8 rocket launchers on it. Hell, it was big enough to hold 5,000 rockets down in the forecastle. Well, they had tubes, and each rocket went into the tubes. Every rocket had its own little place to hide. My fingerprints were all over them because I loaded them and I unloaded them. I put them in the launcher. Then I got a promotion from being a ship, what would they call me? Boatswain's mate. When I first got on, they put me there. But then they found out I went to welding school, so they put me in engineering and welding. So my job description changed. My duty stations changed. So I did it all. I did it. I loaded the ship with the big bombs. I mean, we're talking about 3 feet long, 10 inches. And 16 of them every 3 seconds on some poor village somewhere designated to be infiltrated by the VC. They might have their ammo dump in there hiding someplace. We couldn't go down there and check it out. Hey, you got an ammo dump around here? We had to hit them and hit them fast. And that's what we did. We were called the Puff of the Sea. Puff of the Sea. Because from a distance, all you could see is a puff of smoke. And the rockets flying towards the village. Or whatever the target was that the planes flew over and radioed back to Concordians. F4, 45 degree, blah, 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 blah. Write it down. Rocket launchers are up like this, and they go, boom, like this, and the ship's moving. But the launchers, the ship's going up and down, right? But the launchers are right on the target. And then some of them wouldn't take off. And the ones that wouldn't take off were the ones that I had to put out while they were on fire, trying to take off. I went up, standing there with my torch and everything, trying to choke the flames out. exhaust from the rockets went on to the fire hose, melted the fire hose. And I'm standing there with an extinguisher, you know, one of those CO2 things, trying to cool this rocket down. They have to go 150 revolutions or something before they'll explode. But we had a guy there that had a big asbestos suit on. He looked like he was going to walk on Mars or the moon or something. This guy and big, went over his shoulders and all that stuff, all silver guy. Get the rocket out. They got stuck in there. He had to get the rocket out and dig it up and throw it over the side of the boat. That was a dangerous job. And I was his backup man because if something caught on fire or something like that, I had to put it out real quick. My heart was in my throat several times, believe me. Thank you for your service. Oh, if you only knew what you're thanking me for. I appreciate it, though. Thank you. So, that's what I did in the first, right out of boot camp. I wasn't married, so they took and put me on the list to go to Vietnam because I wasn't married, I was single, and I was good, healthy shape. I was the athletic petty officer for my squad in boot camp, and we won the Star Flag. I organized it and everything, and I organized it all, Star Flag. We won the Star Flag. We used to march with the Star Flag. I had a stripe. I thought I was somebody. I organized this. I got towels and I had them practicing, pulling, because they had all kinds of things you had to do during the Star Flag athletic meet between all the troops. We beat them all. We beat all the troops. We were the #1 Star Flag unit, troop. I think it was 151, Troop 151. That was an experience in my life. There's a story behind that too, but I don't know. I don't even know if I can get people to watch my films. If I do, I'll tell them, because I'll be looking for stories to tell, and I will tell some of them because they need to be told. But what I'm trying to get at is I'm going to do my music. But before I do that, I just want to make a statement. I'm a decorated Vietnam veteran. And I don't want to say it to puff myself up, but if I don't tell you, who's going to tell you? That's what the priest said one time to me. He's telling me about his wrestling career and all that stuff. He says, I don't want to sound like I'm all puffed up and I beat this guy, I beat that guy and everything, but if I don't tell you, who's going to tell you? You won't know nothing about my background when you think about what I'm saying to you. So I'm saying the same thing to you guys. Oh, I was in Vietnam, and boy, every day was living hell. Every day. Even when we went in to pick up more rockets, we were in fear of our lives because the day before we got to Cameron, they blew it to smithereens. We came in, we were afraid to get off the ship to go in and have a beer in one of the airport plane garages, whatever they call them. I don't have a skit, so I would have had that written down what they call the places, but you got to go with the flow. But anyways, I go in, I said, okay, I'm going to get off the ship. I got off the ship, I walked on, I got in there, in the town, oh, give me a beer, and there's 1,000 guys sitting around. Big hall that what would they call that? Where they keep the planes. I can't, it skips my mind right now. Keepers. Parkinson's disease. Darn it. Damn Agent Orange, I'm telling you. Did a job on me. Can't do nothing about it either. They just made it so if you got Parkinson's, it's recognized as Agent Orange. Caused from Agent Orange. And that was just about 4 or 5 years ago, so they gave me a disability for it. Getting Parkinson's. When I was analyzed, having Parkinson's right in front of my wife. My wife was next to me. And the doctor said, well, I'm sorry, you have the beginning stages of Parkinson's disease. Shaky hand syndrome. What they call it, shaky hand syndrome. I'm doing that now because this is the way I get when I don't know. I don't know when I get upset or something happens where my nerves are being, I start shaking. They call it shaky hand syndrome. And then when I came back home, tried to make a baby, my wife suffered because she was allergic to me when I came back. She was allergic to me. Her body broke out in a rash. Mine too. What was going on with me? I don't know. But she did have a baby. A baby blob. A blob. A big, huge, 6-pound blob in her womb. My baby. My baby. A blob. They had to do a hysterectomy on her. And that was cut off 23 years ago. And I've been celibate ever since. What does the veterans do for me? God bless them all. They make it manageable. They make it manageable. Life. I got a lot of hurt. A lot of hurt. I'm a disabled 100% Vietnam veteran decorated with the Bronze Star. And why I'm saying that and presenting it to you is this reason right here. The United States of America. The land of the free, the home of the brave, has changed their laws against God's laws. Twice, not once. First time they did it, we got in a 20-year war because what happens is if you go against God's law, the punishment is war. Biden did one good thing here. He was in office. Maybe he didn't have a lot to do with it, but he did get us out of that 20-year war. Punishment. And now we got movements. Texas has made abortion, so you can't do it there. And then they just came to this poor man's house that was an abortion objector. And he had a family. He's in his 40s. They came, 20 of them, with riot gear on and rifles pointed at the door saying, come on out. And he says, do you have a warrant? He said, we don't need a warrant. Come on out of the house right now. Well, you come out of the house. It's in court. 20 policemen with riot gear on, rifles coming after her. Somebody was objecting over the abortion. Is that a warning? Everybody, is there anybody out there who's got any chutzpah to fight it? Well, that's what I'm doing right now. I didn't fight Vietnam War. I didn't fight over there because I wanted to go over there and shoot people and play games, cowboys and Indians or whatever, cowboys and Chinamen or whatever. Because I'm an Irishman. Irish against the Chinese. God bless them. They were beautiful people. Oh, God. I loved them. I did. I loved them. I thought they were beautiful people. One guy was out in front of his house with his whole family all lined up with a white flag, crying. Their whole family's crying, "Don't bomb us, please." And we're on boat, the Puff, the Clarion River. We had a sister ship. She sunk down further than us, 4 feet further than us, because she had to go further up the river. She had to go up where the river gets real skinny and narrow. And they had to have armor plating. And that's what happened with them. We met them out at sea, and it was funny. I said, "It's a sister ship." And they pulled up next to us, and they're sitting 4 feet lower in the water than us. We had to jump down and jump up to get back onto the boat. It was out at sea, and we can go over there. Oh, let's walk through here. Let's see this. They invited us in. We can go over there and look through the ship and all that. Oh, hey, where'd you go? Oh, we went way up. Oh, well, it gets really tough, and you get really, really up there. It gets machine gunny, and you gotta have armor plating, because if not, boat goes through that side of that wall and hits one of them bombs, and you got the biggest explosion that I think could ever be in Vietnam. 5,000 rockets going off all at once. I don't know. That's being brave, I guess. The home of the brave would only get on that, or the home of the very stupid. But me, I don't know. I was Mr. Chivalry type thing. Everybody's running to Canada. I'm not going to go to Vietnam. Oh, I'm burning my draft. I ain't going in. You know what I did? I went and had a physical, and he says, "You can't go in." I said, "Why?" He says, "Well, you have a testicle that's not completely in the sac, and we can't take undescended testicles." And I says, "Oh, darn." I says, "I had it operated on when I was younger. I was supposed to have been born with it, I guess. But I had it operated on when I was younger, and by a caveman doctor. I woke up and I felt something between my legs, and I went down after the operation. They operated on me, and they did something to my testicle. So I reached down there, and I feel that there's a board tied to my leg, a 2x4. I said, "A 2x4? Why would somebody?" I woke up. See, nobody's seen me yet. When I woke up after the operation, and I'm feeling a 2x4. Why is there a 2x4? So I looked down, and somebody had pounded a nail into the 2x4. We'll fix his nuts. Took a string and put it through my left testicle, pulled it down into the sack, and then tied it to the 2x4. And I had to lay there in agony for days. I had friends coming, and I couldn't laugh because it was so funny. They couldn't believe that I was in the hospital with my nuts tied down to a 2x4. And I thought that was the biggest joke, and laughing and everything. They had me laughing so damn hard. I had to leave because I couldn't take it, hurt and laughing, pain. Oh. Time goes by, and I said, "Well, what's going on? I got to be like this for how long?" I said, "Oh, not much longer." "Okay, we're going to give it a shot." Well, they come over, and the nurse goes. And guess what happens? My left nut, shoots back right up where it came from. All that. I got a 10-inch scar on my side. Whenever I take a shower at the Y or something like that, I go, oh, Dean, you had a bad operation, man. That's a big scar. What happened to you? It's on the other side of my appendicitis. I don't know. I'm on the left side. Now I got to tell the story. I could be famous. Did you hear Nixon's story about his nuts being tied to a 2x4 because he wanted to serve his country? Later on, that is. Because I was only 13, 14 when that happened. But when they told me it wouldn't take me into service, I couldn't defend my country, and I wanted to be. My last name is Montleone. Montleone. Montleone is what they say. Mountain lion. The caped warrior is what my name means in Italian. I'm Italiano. I'm an Irishman. And I got a little French man in there. Those French guys. Boy, they put a hurting on us, that's for sure. I'm not talking the French down. I'm just saying this French guy was a French nobleman, and he was my mother's mother. My mother's mother was the child of their interaction, their mistress. He had a mistress, Italian mistress. He was a French man. But they couldn't marry because of royalty, couldn't marry peasants and stuff back then. They had all this thing, story. That's the real story. Excuse me. That's the real story. So, my grandmother had a beautiful voice. I got some of her voice. I'm not saying I got a beautiful voice, but I got that talent of singing. I want to sing. It's in my genes. Hopefully I give you something that's halfway decent here in a little bit. I'm getting down to an hour. I don't want this to go over an hour and a half. I think it's interesting enough for people to maybe, let's give them an hour and a half. Yeah, maybe so. I don't know, somebody writes me or something, say, hey, we can listen to you more than an hour and a half. I got one on there 3.5 hours. You want to listen to that one? That's got everything in it. Well, to get back to the story, where was I? See, Parkinson's. Short-term memory loss. So they said, yeah, we can't take you. You have an undescended testicle. We'll do it. We'll take care of it. If you want us to do it, we'll operate on it for you. We'll take care of it for you. If you want to go into service that bad. But I had an out. Everybody else was going to Canada and burning their draft cards, and I had an out. And what did I want to do? I castrated myself. That's what I did. I said, take it off. I give it. I give it. For my country. Take it off. Oh, they did. They took it off, and I was still with stitches in my side when I went into boot camp. And I went 8 weeks through boot camp just having an operation, my left testicle removed. I had some complications with infections and stuff like that. It's all documented, all in records and all that. And then it came time to graduate from boot camp, and I went home, and because I was in boot camp and not married, they stationed me in Vietnam, so I was actually stationed in Yokosuka, Japan. That was my home base, but I met up with my ship in the Philippines. Oh, that was a story. Oh, God. I've got some stories. But anyways, I don't want to be negative, though. But what can you do when you got stories that are worth listening to? So you don't make those mistakes. Or you say, yeah, I heard somebody talking about that one time. Yeah, that was something else. Well, here I am, 73 years old, and they got this new thing now. Instead of writing a book, you can tell a story. And that's what I am. I'm a storyteller. I earned it. I've been around. So I go into the service, I go to Vietnam, I come back, I'm on that ship I was telling you about, USS Midway or something like that, big aircraft carrier, sweeping floors. And I have a charge over me, a drunk. He was a drunk. He could hardly wait to get to the bars on the weekend. So I'm doing my chores and all that. My wife is flying in from New York to Oakland, California. I was on an aircraft carrier there in Oakland Bay or whatever it is, Oakland base. And he was in charge of me, this guy was in charge of me, and he said, okay, I want them floors nice and shiny and clean before the weekend. Because he had my Liberty card, see. And I says, well, I said, my wife is flying in. She's only 20 years old. She doesn't know anything about this area or anything. And she's going to be waiting for me at the airport this weekend. So, I hope I do a real good job and all that stuff. I was thinking. So we go through it all week long, and I did my job and all that stuff. And the weekend comes, and he goes, you didn't work hard enough. I'm going to keep your Liberty card. You can't go on Liberty. Can you imagine this happened to a human being in the United States service? I said, why aren't you going to let me have my Liberty card? I said, my wife is flying in on it. Plane this evening. I got to be there at the airport to take her to our apartment. San Francisco. He was going to work in a hospital, and we were going to be together. We just got married. I was stationed stateside now because when I came back from Vietnam and I was up for reorders, they stationed me stateside because I was married. I made arrangements for Susie to come on out to California. Boy, I almost made a big mistake. Watch how the Holy Spirit fixed this one. I'm standing there and I says, that's it? Yeah, that's it. You're not going on leave. I got your Liberty card. I says, what's this all about? I just couldn't believe it. He gets on, he goes and he hardly wait to get off the ship because he had called a cab to get to the bar. He takes off my Liberty card and all that. So I'm going, what am I going to do? God, help me here. What am I going to do? There's nobody I can go to complain and tell my story. You got to go through the ship's command. And the guy I had to go through went to the bar. He's drunk. He's already gone. There's nothing I can do. I'm kind of like tearful and crying, looking through my papers and all that stuff because I remembered that the card that he had was a duplicate. And I never looked for the original one because I lost it, and I just told somebody that I had lost my card. So they gave me another one. I was using that one. I didn't even, if I come across the other one, I'll rip it up or something like that. So I'm looking through all my stuff. Sure enough, I come up with my original Liberty card. And now I had to have the guts to disobey a direct order from a drunk. That's how I saw it. And I said, God, I just do with me what you want, but I'm not going to have Susie at that airport with tears in her eyes, wondering why nobody's there to pick her up, take her and show her where we got to go and stuff. I says, I'm going to take this Liberty card. He's gone. He's gone for the weekend. They'll be bringing him back in a paddy wagon on early morning because he had to spend the night in jail because he's puking up all over the place. drunks in charge. Imagine that. And he was a narcissist too. Narcissist. Look up what a narcissist is. Who knows? Maybe you'll find out you're one. I know. I looked it up. I know I'm not, because I go to confession. I forgive. I love and everything else. Narcissists, they just don't give a shit about nothing. Too bad your wife's gonna be Hey, you'll really work double hard next time, won't you? When I tell you to do something. So, anyways, I took the chance. I went to the front. I don't know if he had signed something. I just didn't know what was going on, so I just did it by faith, and I went up there and I handed him my card, and he looks at it, and then he looks at me. He looks down at my shoes, and he goes, I can't let you go off the ship right now. If you shine those shoes, he says, I'll let you go. All right, man, I'm looking for a shoe polish. I shined my shoes. I got back and handed the card. I just got the bus in time. And I show up and I take my wife and we do our thing and I make it back before the weekend on time. Nobody knew I was missing. Not one person on the ship missed me because I was a transport. I was being transported from one ship to another. I just got back from Vietnam and they haven't decided where they're going to put me yet. I was a ship fitter, welder, and stuff. I was just shining shoes. I mean, shining floors and shining my shoes, yeah. Shining floors too. Until they pointed me. So anyways, I make it back. I get in there. He's looking at me. Never said a word or anything. What happened to your wife or anything? He didn't give a shit. He didn't care one bit. All he knew is that he ruined it for me, he thought. I never told him any different. What happened after that is a lot of other stuff. But that's just one incident that I went through, talking about having agony and agonizing experience, and people saying, thank you for your service. Oh, you don't know how nice that feels to a veteran who went through hell. I watched a little man and his family with a white hanky tied to a stick waving it back and forth. Please don't blow us up. We're just a little farm community, just a little farmer. And then, you're looking, you're saying, oh yeah, well that looks cool. But I know their VC are inside his house and they got headquarters there and all this stuff. That's the rumor. But it's up to the captain to say, blow him up or let him slide. And I had a good captain. He was a good-hearted man. He let him slide. He let that family slide. Oh, there were some incidences you couldn't get within 100 yards of our ship with your sand pans or anything like that. And all of a sudden, a rocket launcher could come popping out and blow you to smithereens. All they had to do, we only had a 1/4 inch siding on that ship. We weren't what was it? We were the Clarion River, and what was the other one? I forgot what the name of the other ship was. But they had armor plating. I told you about that earlier. But we still didn't let them come close to us in the sand pans because they had hooded sand pans, and you don't know, some guy he just blew his family up is in that sand pan with a rocket launcher pointing it at your forecastle on your ship. And if it does hit, everybody's done. talking about danger, 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 Will Nixon. Danger. Remember that? Danger, danger, Will Rogers, danger. The robot, the spaceship that landed, the lost in space. I remember that. Every time I think of danger, I think of that. But anyways, okay, a little humor there. How do you like that story? That's something. Isn't that something? And I'm not cutting down the Navy. The Navy is powerful. The Navy is on the ball. I mean, they got it together. Thank God for the Navy. Thank God for the United States services. But we didn't. I saw we were falling behind when we were in Vietnam, though. Because the morality that we were portraying over there wasn't up to par. I mean, they looked like 10-year-old little children dancing with their underwear on while everybody's drinking beer, in the airport. What do they call those things? They will come to me. Hangar. That's what it was. Airport hangar. Where they put the planes. I'm not in the Air Force, so I can't remember that stuff. I'm a Navy guy. So, anyways. Airport hangar with a bar right in the middle of it. Set all up. Probably, they bring in roll everything in and set up a bar. And all the guys drinking beers and stuff. Oh, hey! They got a little 10-year-old girl, it looks like, but she's 20, 30 years old. Who knows? But she looks like she's only 10 years old. Not even filled out, doesn't even have a shape to her body. But she's standing there with her underwear on, and everybody's asking for a sneak peek. Oh, I'll put $1 in there. Give me a peek. What is that? United States government. Gotta watch your morals, too. And that's what I'm getting down to. For the first time in the history of the United States, as far as my research goes, our laws are against Almighty God's laws. Thou shalt not kill. Mainly, the first one, abortion. And the second one is, and I hope I get through to a lot of people out here, since I was a molested child. And I'm talking about 7, 8, 9, and 10. And if it hadn't have been for the molester's mother interrupting, I would have been really molested, because he wanted to pull down my pants. I didn't even have pubic hair yet. He thought I should have been desiring him like he was desiring me. It's his hormones. He was a teenager, 16, 17 years old. He had a motorbike. And he tempted me. He said, I'll give you 8 quarters if you watch me do my thing. And I did that. I said, okay, give me 8 quarters, I'll watch. He said, I'll pull down your pants. I said, no, I don't want it. I don't want to pull down my pants. I don't want anything to do with that. I don't want to do that. Okay. Next time, maybe you will. I don't know how many times he had me over there watching him do his thing on himself. Perverting me, trying to get me a weak moment or something. Maybe he's going to introduce alcohol somehow, or maybe a drug pill or something. I don't know what he was going to do to me, what plans he had, but he was a sinister character. He used to hire girls to start a fight in the park with another girl and rip their clothes off. He can watch. That's how sick this guy was. And I didn't know it. And I was stupid, embarrassed. Tell somebody was molesting me. I thought I was to blame. I let it happen. I went for the 8 quarters. And that's what I'm saying about the law that was just passed. Okaying it for making love with your face, if you're male or female, to each other. And to people who aren't married. Making love that way. It's not sacred. Not saying that what's in the bedroom when you're in a sacramental marriage is what's in the bedroom, but this free sex stuff and perversion of Americans' children, what are you letting happen out there? Do you realize what you let be signed into law? 2 guys can come and adopt your child if you got divorced and put her in a nursing home, and not a nursing home, but in an orphanage. The law is he can come and adopt that child. I went through it. I wouldn't wish it on any child. Believe me. If they're going to do anything, that law has to be for adults only, I would imagine. Because whatever you do as an adult, you'll have to eventually pay for. In this life or the next. There's a lot of people dying from AIDS still. That disease is rampant. And now the little babies are getting it. They want to change your laws against God's laws. Be warned. The punishment is war. And if you don't believe me, look at when they made the law for abortion. What happened? A lot of people died for that law to become it. A lot of people outside the abortion clinic. A lot of brave people that fought for the United States of America and its way, its moral way. We are a nation under God, not under a bunch of perverts. Because that's the first thing that was said by the hordes that came down and massacred Europe when they were making love with their faces. The first thing they said, hey, go in there and check it out. Are they making love with their faces? Yeah, they are. Oh, we can conquer them. They're just a bunch of fags. They won't fight. They'll want to make love. And we'll make love to them. Yeah. We'll burn them out. Rape the women. Steal their gold. We'll annihilate them. Bunch of faggot perverts. That's what I think. And I deserve to say that because I was perverted by them. Oh, you want to come to my house? You better come with riot gear on and your guns pointed, because I'm not going down without a fight, because I'm an American veteran. I fought for my country. I gave up my testicle for my country. You're not going to take and pervert my country with me alive. I swear it.